Irishtown Bend was historically an Irish community established in the 1820s. Immigrants were attracted to this area because of the Ohio Canal construction, which provided job opportunities as ditch diggers and dock workers before the canal's opening in 1832. Most Irish residents left the Bend by 1900, leaving a significantly declining neighborhood by the 1950s, and come 1980, no commercial or residential buildings remained. The Port of Cleveland got involved with Irishtown Bend in 2012, realizing that the unstable hillside posed a big threat to commerce on the Cuyahoga River. The Cleveland Harbor, which includes 6 miles of navigation channel in the Cuyahoga River, is essential to the regional economy. There's an economic impact of over $7 billion annually to keep the river open to commerce, which also supports over 23,000 jobs. It would be devastating to the community had this hillside failed, blocking all commercial shipping and recreational activities. This in mind, the port was determined to figure out what would shore up that hillside and mitigate the risks to shipping. We found out that there had been several known issues with the hillside, but nobody was really taking a high-level look at what was going on, why it was unstable, how to fix it, and how much it was going to cost. In 2013, the port stepped in and started to do some studies looking at underwater images of where the bulkhead should have been, as well as cracks and deteriorations that were present on the hillside. That led to a detailed engineering study to identify what the problem was, get an order of magnitude of cost, and provide an engineering solution. In June of 2023, the port hired Goettle as a general contractor for Irishtown Bend Stabilization project.
Goettle was contracted to stabilize the hillside at Irishtown Bend. Irishtown Bend is along the Cuyahoga River, just outside downtown Cleveland. The hillside's been actively monitored with geotechnical instrumentation for years, and throughout the years, creep and movement has steadily increased while moving towards the Cuyahoga River, and this presented a huge risk for hillside failure and impacting the shipping channel of the Cuyahoga River. When Goettle mobilized to stabilize it, we installed what's called a combi wall bulkhead. The bulkhead consisted of steel-driven piles and tieback anchors. The steel-driven piles consisted of 3 types. There's a 54-inch pipe pile, a 60-inch pipe pile, and NZ14 sheet piles. Now, the sheet piles were installed as intermediary sheets between the pipe piles, and each pipe pile had a tieback anchor going through the pipe, and these anchors were drilled anywhere from 115 feet to 230 feet down to hard, competent bedrock. Now, each anchor had an applied load. The design load was anywhere from 400 to 900 kips, depending on the size of the anchor. And we actually tested those to an ultimate load of 133% of the design load. So we ultimately put over 1 million pounds of force on this wall, with 1,200 kips being the highest load that we applied to the wall. The work was performed in different sequences, utilizing both land and marine operations. The driven piles were installed first, with the tieback anchor installation following behind it. We had to allow the driven pile work to progress for a couple months before starting the tieback anchor work. This was necessary to allow enough space between the 2 operations. All the driven pile work was performed from land using 2 cranes, and the tieback anchor work was performed using a drill rig on a barge configuration from the river. At the peak of the project, we had 7 operations going at once, including driven piles, anchor drilling, anchor grouting, anchor testing, a welding and fabrication crew, and green bulkhead installation. We also had a miscellaneous crew that helped out with all the crews. Our manpower count during this period numbered 55 individuals. We would have to plan out the sequencing for each operation 2 weeks ahead of time, just to make sure we were keeping each crew and each operation as productive as possible. It took a lot of time, commitment, and effort from all 55 individuals at our peak to get this project completed. These 55 individuals consisted of pile drivers, operators, laborers, and Goettle's own supervision. One item we are really proud of this project is that over the course of almost 2 years, we did not have one recordable injury with all the manpower on site. Once this project is completed, we'll be close to 100,000 man hours on the project, and we find that to be a remarkable achievement.
After seeing the Irishtown project site was basically what an incredible piece of property this is. It's what I consider to be best view of downtown Cleveland. And for me, it was like I could see it as it was a chance, or call it a once in a lifetime opportunity, to be part of something that like was really transformative and leave behind something that people will appreciate for years. Working on it, I could see how valuable the project and the property was to the city, not only just to stabilize the hillside and preserve the navigability of the river, but also how important it was to connect the neighborhoods.
The Port thanks the workforce and our partners for their collaboration on this historic milestone, and we can't wait to see the people's excitement and enjoyment of watching giant ships move up and down the Cuyahoga River.